Washington. Buckeyes are driving right now. And Ole Miss just took the lead over LSU, 10-7 there. Texas A&M is up 13-3 on Auburn. Lovely. Let's go over to the NFL. Doug Russell joins us now, sports director over at 97.3 The Game. We have a big matchup, Packers and Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. Doug, it's been a good start. Well, I guess outside of last week, maybe. It was a good couple weeks early on for the Packers. How has your start to the season gone?
The start to the season has been full of storylines, which is great for me, right? Because we got one coming up tomorrow night, as you kind of alluded to, Kate. When NBC drew up the Sunday Night Football lineup, they didn't have this one in Week 4. They were kind of looking toward Week 8 for the Packers against the Steelers and the Packers against Aaron Rodgers, but now you've got Micah Parsons going back to Dallas. So, yeah, anytime there's a juicy storyline, I think I'm in.
Well, let's not belabor the point, and let's just talk about Micah Parsons and this return to Dallas. I mean, you're around that team. You know what the vibes are in the locker room, and so can you just give us any insight into what Micah's mindset is, what the team's mindset is? I'm sure they want to win, obviously, and they're 7-point favorites, but what's just the vibes around this team heading to Dallas?
There's two things right now. Number one, they need to get their offensive line right because Zach Tom's injured, Aaron Banks is injured. You're shuffling guys all over the place. Anthony Belton isn't going to play. He was their second-round draft choice this year. He's been all over the offensive line. They're just trying to find the best five right now, and I don't know if you're going to find a consensus outside of Matt LaFleur, Adam Stenavich, and Luke Butkus, the head coach, offensive coordinator, and offensive line coach, who that best starting five is, because everybody else in town seems to have their own opinion on it. That's one thing, and we saw that kind of manifest itself last week in their loss against the Browns. The other thing is, this is a big game for Micah, and he has, in a very, very short amount of time, become a huge part of this locker room. He gives everybody a lift in there. He's been a cheerleader for the team. The fans have embraced him. He's embraced the city, the culture. There are guys that go to huge schools in small towns, like if you go to Happy Valley, for example, if you go to Penn State, or if you go to Alabama, and they brought in a couple of guys that went to Alabama as free agents last year, Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney, and they had monster years their first year in Green Bay, coming from New York City or Las Vegas, where they were playing the first part of their NFL seasons. They come to Green Bay. And because it's all about ball in Green Bay, because quite frankly, I don't know if you've been to Green Bay or not a lot to do outside of ball for some of these guys. And that's part of what Micah Parsons has embraced, and the fans love him for it. And you look at the box score, and it's not that impressive, but he affects everything else that the team does. You look at the production that Rashawn Gary has gotten. The big knock on him is that, they're paying him like an elite pass rusher, but he's never had double-digit sacks ever in his career, and now he's well on pace to that because Mike is taking up so much attention. Lucas Van Ness in his third season, first-round draft choice, number 13 overall pick. He hasn't been able to really make an impact through the first 2 years of his NFL career, and already he's making an impact because of the attention that Micah Parsons is getting. So even though if you look at the box score, it's not all that impressive, if you really watch the way that the defense operates, he's had a huge impact on the field and in the locker room.
How much has that impact that you just talked about raised the ceiling for this team versus prior to that trade?
Well, I think everybody's really kind of talking about Super Bowl aspirations. I mean, there are a lot of good teams in the NFC, as you guys know. I mean, everybody's trying to chase Philadelphia right now. Washington, even though they lost to the Packers in Week 2, I think the Commanders are a really good team. The Rams are a really good team. So, I mean, there are a lot. We'll see about some of the other teams. The Lions are certainly a really good team in the NFC still. So they're in the conversation, whereas before they weren't, because if you can get the offense right, and they think that they've got that right if everybody is healthy. Like I said, there's some questions on the offensive line. There's two of their top wide receivers are out right now. Jaden Reed's on injured reserve, and they still haven't gotten Christian Watson back, and that's been a problem. But if you can get the other side of the ball right, they've got an aggressive scheme with Jeff Hafley as their defensive coordinator, who I mark my words is a future NFL head coach. They just maybe didn't necessarily have the personnel to affect the quarterback. Now they do. So the conversation is different. When you talk about the Eagles and the Lions and the Rams and the Commanders, now you're putting the Packers into that mix as well. So it could be a really competitive December and January.
Doug, you mentioned the quarterback, and when you go to BetMGM, our show sponsor, our network sponsor, and you look at the MVP odds, and Jordan Love is up there. He's the fourth name on the board behind only Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert. Just tell us a little bit about his development as a quarterback, how he's come along, and do you think he legitimately is one of the top quarterbacks in the league?
I don't think he's there yet. He's played like it at times. I mean, you talk about the second half of the 2023 season, and he played as well as anyone in the NFL. Last year, he got hurt in week 1. I think that affected him the entire season. I think everybody's going to look back at that terrible, not only play call, but also terrible decision that Jordan Love made in the last couple of minutes of last week's game against Cleveland that contributed to the Packers losing the game. It wasn't the only thing that made them lose that game and lose a 10-point lead with less than 4 minutes left to play in the ball game, but it contributed to it. And so there are now some questions about Jordan Love. I think he can make all the plays. He's got the thumb injury. I'm not worried about that. That shouldn't be slowing him down at all. It looks like his wheels are healthy. He had the knee injury again last year that I think hampered him. He can make the throws, but right now I think he's still trying to get on the same page as Matthew Golden, because if you look back at week 2 against the Commanders, he undershot him for a touchdown and he overshot him for a touchdown. So now they've just got to get on the same page. And once they do, I think that offense could really be clicking. I think that Matthew Golden is going to help Jordan Love become an elite NFL quarterback when they get Christian Watson back, if he can stay on the field, which he hasn't been able to do. But in the spurts that he has been on the field, he has shown that he can be a guy who can take the top off the defense. He can help turn Jordan Love into an elite NFL quarterback. Getting Jaden Reed back healthy at some point, that's going to help as well. So Romeo Doubs can't do it by himself, and right now he's the most experienced guy that's helping him out. Tucker Kraft is another guy who is helping him out at the tight end position. So I think that he's improving. He's not, in my opinion, not quite elite yet, but he just needs to get some more of his weapons around him, stay healthy, and he can, again, I think, become that elite quarterback that we saw a couple of years ago.
Talking with Doug Russell, sports director at 97.3 The Game. He's also the host of Packers Game Day. This matchup with the Cowboys. One, I guess I have kind of a two-part question. Like, is Micah just going to be so juiced up to face the Cowboys that he's going to be all over the place? Or do you think he's going to approach this just as any other game?
Well, I guess it depends on what you believe, right? In my opinion, how could you not go in juiced? He says it's going to be, and, he met with us outside the locker room on Wednesday, I think it was. All the days kind of blend together after a while. I think it was Wednesday. And he said, look, this is just another game. Yeah, it'll be nice to see everybody. My box, he didn't get a refund on his luxury box, so the luxury box is going to be full at AT&T Stadium.
That stinks.
He tried to get Kenny Clark to buy it, and Kenny Clark passed.
That's funny.
He says that it's just another game. I mean, Kate, do you believe that?
No,
because I don't know that I do.
No, for these
of course
players.
Not. Right. I mean, it's just human nature. I don't blame him, but come on. I mean, to borrow a phrase from, one of your city's longtime sports shows, who you crapping?
That's good.
It's a great poll, Doug. But as far as this game goes, I mean, the Packers also as a whole are 7-point favorites, and this is a bounce back spot for them after last week. Do you expect that they can go in there and just take care of business and that this should be a touchdown or more win? Or do you think that Dallas, also similarly coming off a disappointing week last week, do you think this could be a little scrappier than the point spread implies?
Yeah, not having CD, I think, is really going to hurt Dak. So, I mean, games are so hard to predict, because you've got emotions on both sides. I know the Cowboys want to show up their former teammate, and Micah wants to, show Jerry. He's not worried about the Cowboys guys on the field. He's worried about one guy. He's worried about Jerry upstairs or downstairs. I mean, he usually comes down to the field. I think that the Packers should be able to take care of business, but we all said that last week against the Browns too, right? Their offensive line is really banged up. So I don't know that I'm ready to lay 7. That's a big number on the road. So I mean, if I'm a betting man, I would say I think it might be just a little bit closer than that.
Doug, NFC North as a whole, what are your initial, just kind of going into week 4 takeaways? J.J. McCarthy not looking all that great for the Vikings. Caleb Williams slowly progressing. Lions look good again. Like, how do you assess this division?
I think Caleb's going to get there. And I've said that for a couple of years. I watched a lot of USC football when he was there winning the Heisman Trophy. There's something there. I think that Ben Johnson just needs to, get it out of him. And they're not there yet. I think there's talent on that team. I still think they're a little ways away. I'm not surprised by J.J. McCarthy. I feel like there were some reports out of Minnesota that were gassing him up, saying, "Hey, you know what? He could be the next great stud after they got rid of Sam Darnold." And I think the world of Kevin O'Connell. I think he might be the best coach in the division. Just from a strategy standpoint. We'll see about Ben Johnson. I'm not sure. I mean, we're only a few games into his NFL career as a head coach, so jury's still out on him. I think Matt LaFleur is a very good coach. I think Dan Campbell is a good coach from the standpoint that players will play harder for him than anyone else. I just question some of his in-game decisions. So I think it's a competitive division, right? Because that's what it was a year ago. You've got 3 2-1 teams and 1 and 2 team. Math is hard. Numbers are a lot. I think it's going to be competitive. I think it's going to continue to be competitive. I think that the Packers, if everyone is healthy, can be the best team in the division. I think they can be a Super Bowl contender. But it's just the ongoing thesis of this week in Green Bay and what I've been talking about since I came on with you guys. That offensive line is a problem right now, just because there are just so many injuries.
Sticking with that, Doug, in the NFC North, in about a minute, which of these teams, though, in the North scares you the most or gives you the most trepidation, at least?
Detroit. I mean, they beat them once, which was great in week 1, but Detroit's still elite. I know they've got new coordinators. They're figuring some things out. Pound for pound, player for player, the Lions are still an elite NFL team. They just